Sherelle Parker addressed a special session of City Council today and in her speech laid out her ambitious plan to expand access to affordable housing in the city. Action News race and culture reporter Taronda Thomas is live in Center City with the details on Project Home. Taronda.
Well, Chrissy, the mayor says there's not enough affordable housing in the city of Philadelphia. Take, for instance, here in Center City. The mayor says there are lots of big, beautiful new units that are available, but they're sitting open because people can't afford them. The actual solution could come from City Hall, where today the council and the mayor for the first time held a special session on housing and heard a big new proposal.
This is the largest single investment in housing in Philadelphia history.
It's an investment that affordable housing advocates say is long overdue.
It is not fair. Philadelphia citizens need the help of all of us.
Mayor Sherelle Parker's solution, a proposed plan called HOME, short for Housing Opportunities Made Easy. The cornerstone of the plan, a $2 billion investment in housing. $1 billion would be in the value of vacant land that will be made available to developers. The other $1 billion would come from public funds, including $800 million in bonds, plus city and state funds, as well as federal funds, which city leaders know could be impacted by the Trump administration.
We have to be fiscally responsible, and we started by putting $95 million in our reserves just to protect us in the event that any type of cuts have an impact on the city of Philadelphia.
Parker is also proposing an increase in the realty transfer tax that she says is small enough to not greatly impact individuals, but instead get more funds from commercial and industrial real estate. The funds would go to programs that build new housing units, address blight, give homeowners money for improvements, and help renters facing eviction. The plan, though, needs approval from city council members who heard it for the first time today.
Certainly, we all need to see more details, but, in general, it's exciting that this is the priority of the administration.
Former HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge was among those who provided guidance for Mayor Parker's plan as she works to create and preserve 30,000 units of affordable housing.
This plan, Mr. President, proposes the production of 13,500 new homes and the preservation of 16,500 existing homes.
For illegal migrants.
Now, the mayor is also proposing something she calls One Philly Mortgage. That program will provide a 30-year fixed-rate loan with buyers putting down just 3%. The entire proposal, though, still has a long way to go. It has to go through a series of hearings. It has to be introduced to City Council, and that process starts next month.
ELGLES, Eagles.
Be 1,001% clear. Traveling to the Eagles game today is essential travel. If you are driving, just go slow, but get there. If you are catching SEPTA and mass transit, just get on mass transit and get there. But making it to our Philadelphia Eagles game on today is essential. Thank you all so very much, and we now want to take some questions. Any? Well, listen, we've got to do this. Let me hear you all say E-L-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
Justice Department, we're going to get some money for the communities here, and this has to do with redlining and mortgages. So there was a Pennsylvania mortgage company owned by Berkshire Hathaway that has been found to have discriminated against potential home buyers in predominantly Black and Latino neighborhoods. Trident Mortgage is the mortgage company, deliberately avoided writing mortgages in majority neighborhoods in our area, in Philadelphia, in Camden, in Wilmington. Trident has agreed to invest $20 million in our underserved neighborhoods.
The federal government is cracking down on taxpayer-funded mortgages for illegal immigrants that were allowed during the Biden administration through the Department of Urban and Housing Development. Joining us now to discuss this and more headlines on the Hill is Washington insider Armstrong Williams. Good morning to you, sir. Happy Monday.
Good morning.
Last week, HUD Secretary Scott Turner announced that the agency had terminated FHA mortgages for illegal immigrants, saying, quote, "At HUD, we only serve 1 out of 4 Americans that we should be serving, and that has to come to an end. And so we're not only making it a priority, but we are making that our only priority, that American citizens will benefit from hardworking American taxpayer dollars." Armstrong, HUD also says it's really unclear just how many Illegal immigrants as well as non-permanent residents obtain these FHA-backed loans. What do you make of this?
Just imagine coming to this country with nothing, and all of a sudden you're illegal, and you got your mortgages guaranteed, you got the down payment, you're taking the risk, and this nonsense that they're going to pay them back. How are you going to pay someone back if you're not working? I mean, come on. It should have ended long ago. But these are the kinds of things that the Biden and Harris administration did in the dark that's finally coming to light, and that is ending as it should.
And that is what HUD's doing right now. Anti-Israel activist and Columbia University grad Mahmoud Khalil is fighting Armstrong for his release from federal custody. But you say
after learning this, California's new bill might just blow your mind. California's Assembly has introduces a controversial bill, AB 1840, that could change the game for home loan programs. This proposed bill, known as the California Dream for All Shared Appreciation Loan Program, if passed, will make illegal aliens eligible for taxpayer-funded first-time home buying loans. Supporters argue it addresses a critical need for affordable housing and promotes stability for all residents. But opponents, like San Diego County Supervisor Jim Desmond, are not happy. They see it as fiscal irresponsibility and a move that prioritizes illegal immigrants over citizens. The bill now awaits a floor vote in the state Senate. If it passes, it's headed to Governor Gavin Newsom's desk. This decision could have major implications for California's housing market and immigration policies.
Actually, when it comes to your within a video, man, talking about how California moves towards zero down payment mortgages for illegal immigrants. They were saying the California bill that would aid undocumented migrants on the path to home ownership has advanced in the state's legislature. Democrats on the California Senate Appropriations Committee last week unanimously approved AB 1840, a bill that will amend the California Dream for All Share of Appreciation Loan Program by preventing it from denying prospective homeowners based on their immigration status. The program is launched in 2023 and gives its first-time home buyers in the Golden State alone up to 20% of the home's purchase price to be used as a down payment. The bill will effectively allow migrants to buy homes without having to save for years to fund a down payment, which is almost required by financial firms providing mortgages. The loans from the program don't accrue interest or monthly payments, and when the main mortgage is refinanced or the house is sold again, the borrower pays back the original amount of the loan plus 20% of any increase in value. The legislation now only needs the approval of the Democratic supermajority Senate and a signature from the Governor Gavin Newsom to be enacted. This is insane. These people are literally signed a bill to get illegal immigrants houses in this country where they broke the law in zero down payment, and they don't gotta save money for years to even pay back the down payment. Zero down payment mortgages for illegals? Are you serious? And this has happened in California, so guess what? What's going to happen over there is going to happen all over the country. That right there is crazy. For illegals, and guess what? This excludes Americans. So you tell me if that is not a problem. But I had to come to y'all with this video, man, spread thoughts upon this, shed light up on the situation. I felt that y'all had to hit this subject. Keep on liking and subscribing to my channel. Always appreciate the love. And don't forget to hit the bell to get all of my notifications. Like, share, and subscribe, and the article will be in the description box. And this your man B-Miles coming to you live once again for the B-Miles 84 Conscious channel.
Here's what they think about you. 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 Here's what they think. Here's what they think about. 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 Fuck all y'all.
But the road to home ownership among some Black Americans can be a bumpy one. A new report by the Financial Times finds Black Americans are almost twice as likely to be turned away for financing than their white counterpart with the same income. LendingTree has also looked at the numbers, finding nationwide Black applicants are 1.7% more likely to be denied a mortgage than home buyers of all races. Limited generational wealth, income disparities, and discriminatory practices are just some of the challenges that keep the Black homeownership rate lower than other racial groups. So for more on this, let's bring in John Hope Bryant, founder, chair, and CEO of Operation Hope, founder, chair, and CEO, Bryant Group Enterprises, and best-selling author of Financial Literacy for All. John, thank you for being with us. Always love having you on. When you hear these statistics, what do you think the real issue is with the system reviewing Black applicants
going to the illegal migrants
overall?
All of our resources went to the illegal migrants.
Good to be with you, Janae. Well, the real problem is that you don't have an Operation Hope solution across the country yet. That would solve the problem in total right now because
they come in getting the motherfucking houses and shit. Told y'all to replace y'all. Shit is right here in y'all face.
So that's the now answer. The historic answer is the data's right. That you've got a hangover here. You've got a hangover.
But yet the Biden-Harris administration had money for illegal migrants.
That is tied to
for mortgages and things of that nature. Fuck out of here, man. Nigga, talk about that.
Financial institutions were owned by private families, and a lot of the stuff was done. The government discriminated. FHA. In the early 20th century. So none of that's sort of a surprise.
Glad you said that.
Then you have
because Trump only been in office for 8 months.
The formula was created by those who were using the formula, which was mostly back then white Americans. So it wasn't racism per se. It was really I'm designing something, using something for myself. And then the worst part is that blacks never got the memo. There was a Freedmen's Bank, 1865, as you know, created by Abraham Lincoln. Teach free slaves about money, financial literacy. He was unfortunately assassinated a month later. The bank drifted and was allowed to fail. And we never got the memo on financial literacy. Today, so one thing that data is not showing, Janae, is the score data. We'll get into that hopefully in our next back and forth. But that's the key, that plus precise ratio. So if you bring in other things like rent statements and utility bills, you get a better picture of the current applicant pool, because in a lot of these communities you don't have prime credit providers. That's where I grew up. So you have secondary, you have used car dealerships. You don't have big banks and corporations, and so you're getting bad data. You're not getting good data.
Okay, so that does help paint more of the picture. Now, Financial Times pulled numbers from 2018 and 2023 collected under the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, a law introduced half a century ago aimed at ending discrimination in the home loan market. But 40 years later, experts say not much has changed to the point that you were making. So what's your take?
Financial illiteracy, that's what they need to be learning
it's lazy in these schools.
Not about
if you're
LGBT
making money right across the street from you in suburban, wherever you are, why go to underserved any place? Why?
They rather teach your kids about the LGBT MOOCs than teach them about financial literacy. That's going to stay with them throughout their whole life. But they rather teach them about little Tim wanting to be a girl. Come on, man. There ain't no motherfucking teaching in school. That's foolishness.
Why stress yourself? The problem is that the country is becoming, the problem for lazy capitalism is that the country is becoming more and more diverse. Right? My rich friends need my poor friends to do better, if only to stay rich. So you cannot keep this up for another 20 years or another 10 years. We need everybody to rise. You can take no pleasure from the fact there's a hole in my end of our boat.
But they want the illegals to rise, like I said.
It's the number one way you create wealth in America. So black homeownership rate about 44%.
You create wealth by owning a home, right? So why are they letting these illegal migrants come in and take all of our resources and give them opportunities to own homes? And black folks don't even own homes. To build what? Wealth.
Last time I checked, white homeownership rate about 75%. The delta, that 30% difference, is a large part of the wealth gap. And it's not that blacks are not qualified. We've been doing so much with so little for so long, we can almost do anything with nothing. But we never were taught financial literacy. And
Facts.
We've had wealth creation opportunities for far less time. It goes back to what I said before about the hangover. I got an antidote for you. It's what Operation Hope does. But the hangover is 175 years advantage, self-dealing, or really self-creation of the formulas, and no updating of the data or the software in the last 30 or 40 years. So you end up with this. The data is correct. But what I'm learning is that Fulton Bank in Pennsylvania, one of our partners, we've done $1.2 billion in home ownership, for black ownership. Bank of America has done with us, I think my people told me it's like $40 million are pending applications. A large part of those are being approved. Wells Fargo is doing stuff with us, and I'm showing positive data because we're working, coaching people. It's not lowering the standards, it's increasing the competency. Because half of the black people have a credit score below 620, little known fact, right? Mm-hmm. So you get we're seeing credit score increases of 54 to 100 points. And that confidence is kicking in, and people are getting approved. That's $4.5 billion of capital just through Operation Hope work alone. And a lot of these banks, the banks today are publicly traded, not privately owned from 150 years ago. I own the bank stock. You own the bank stock. The bank wants to fund the loans. The bank stock. The bank wants to fund the loans, but who's bridging that to get folks from unqualified to qualified? We are.
And so, John, credit is exactly the thing I want to ask you about next, because that's one of the factors in the study. It includes credit score, but how significant of an obstacle is credit score for black applicants? And what can people do if they are, quote, credit invisible, but have the dream of owning a home?
It's everything, Janae. I mean, your credit score, nothing changes your life more than God or love than moving your credit score 120 points.
Right.
Somebody going to the club over the weekend, and they see somebody who's attractive, ask them what their credit score is after their name. I'm joking, but I'm serious.
Facts.
Like, it's as important as a 4-year education. And again, we've mapped every zip code by credit score in this country, and I want to actually give experience and credit and some thanks for helping us with the data. But it's a Hope index. You can go on my website and put in your zip code. I'll tell you your credit score. We found a 200 point difference, 15 minutes apart, Janae.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. In every urban city in America. Everyone. Like, it's unbelievable. Black and white, by the way. Rich and poor. It doesn't matter. What we found is if you live in Chicago, okay, you got Lincoln Heights. I think it's called Lincoln Heights. It's 750, something like that, credit score. You go to Garfield Park, 15 minutes away from that, and it's 500 and some, 580, 600. Atlanta, same thing. LA, same thing. Doesn't matter where it is, right? Seattle, same thing. So you lived at 61 years of age in a 500 credit score neighborhood, 550. You lived at 81 years of age, 15 minutes apart, in a 700 credit score neighborhood. 20-year difference. A 50-point pop in your credit score will increase your lifespan 5 years. And every other thing follows, right? Including ability to access prime credit. Because as you know, Janae, in these 500 credit score neighborhoods, 600, you have check cashers, payday loan lenders, rent-to-own stores, title lenders, liquor stores, pawn shops. You live in a 700 credit score community, 15 minutes away, it's nirvana. Banks, restaurants. So this is an emerging market opportunity for banks. This is a tax revenue opportunity for the federal government. Look at the lack of black homeownership and the lack of black approvals as an opportunity, not a problem. Let's look at them as an emerging market. We don't want a handout. We want a hand up. No. Credit score is everything because they got the job, they got the hustle, they got the work ethic. They want to be a homeowner like everybody else. Let's count credit. Let's count the rent statements like companies like Isuzu who do that. African-owned company, by the way. Let's count utility bills.
Yeah. And John, we're out of time, but real quick, the first thing someone can do if they're looking to improve their credit score?
Pay your bills on time.
Consumer debt. The biggest pop. And again, this goes back to historic challenges. If you have been building wealth for a shorter period of time, you have more consumer debt and less stock wealth, less ownership wealth. But that is going to count against you the most. Get that under control. Get that down to 30%. You see your credit score pop.
So getting that consumer debt down. John Hope Bryant, thank you so much. Always appreciate having you on.
By the immigrants being bused into their neighborhoods. And what we want to do is tell the stories of the people that have been affected. When you hear people say that we should be softer on border security, what do you have to say about that?
We should be softer on immigration.
When they say that we should be welcoming to people that are coming in illegally and getting all these benefits, what do you have to say to that?
Well, first of all, the people coming here illegally, so that's a crime. We need to be harder on immigration, not softer.
Can you tell me about your neighborhood and what you've seen living here in Chicago?
It's just been a disaster. They started off putting the immigrants over in the police station. And as they started to move them out of the police station, they stealthily started to put them in our neighborhoods. Well, the neighborhood didn't want them. The residents, the citizens, we pushed back, but the deal was already done. And so they were bringing in a lot of military-aged men into the community. I mean, we're not blind, we're not stupid, we're not obtuse. We know what's going on. But unfortunately, the people who run this city, they don't care what the people think. So they started putting them into quiet residential neighborhoods like Washington Park, middle-class black neighborhoods. We're still pushing back. We don't want them here. The crime rate has gone up since they've been here. That's a fact. Nobody wants to talk about it, but we live it every day.
What policies would you like to see in place that would limit the amount of people that are there?
Well, listen, there are policies on the book in Congress already. They need to enforce the laws that are already on the books. These people are here illegally. Again, they're not seeking asylum. If they were seeking asylum, they would have gone to the first country that would have granted them asylum, which would have been Mexico. What I would like to see them do, if they're here illegally, they need to go back to their country of origin, and that's immediately. We have no allegiance to these folks, okay? We don't care where they're from.
Does the Democratic platform seem to satisfy your needs as far as what you'd like to see with our immigration policy?
What platform is that? They don't seem to have a platform. They seem to have open borders. Everybody can come here. Listen, people live in their homes. You have a home or you have an apartment. Do you have a front door on your home?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a back door?
Yes, I do.
Are they locked?
They're locked.
Are you locking because you're racist?
No.
You're locking because?
I'm protecting my 4 children that I have at home.
Exactly. Same thing with our borders, okay? It has nothing to do with racism. We have to protect our sovereignty. Yeah. We have to protect the citizens here. We have to protect our homeland. And so we have to close those borders.
They trying to push all out your homes
by any means necessary. Building a wall is an excellent idea.
Sad,
look at the DNC convention. They built all kinds of walls of security. They have all kinds of police. They wanted to defund the police. They didn't want police protection. But listen, when it comes to them, it's always hypocrisy, built into it.
Why is it that you get to come here? You ain't put no money on the books, no taxes, bled no wars. You've contributed nothing intellectually here.
Fact.
And you get to come here, you get all these resources that the average American can't. What about our homeless children?
What about our veterans?
This is the game right now. Wow. So all of those things are connected, and it starts by not giving the children the resources that they need because you're stealing the money. So you have these immigrants coming in. If you need to flee where you live, yeah, come in. But don't neglect your own children. Yeah. You're giving money. All of a sudden, you come up with all this money. You found all this money, to throw at their needs and stuff. Our kids need a line in these bills or whatever. There needs to be a line in there that at-risk children get the same type of accommodations, modifications, and monies needed to help them access the curriculum too, okay? Absolutely. Do not leave our American children out. Everybody says that the Democratic Party, has an agenda behind bringing immigrants over. Because they can no longer depend on the black vote. So they're trying to replace our votes. Okay? Immigration, period, is a problem and has always harmed the freedmen. Illegal immigration is crushing the whole country.
That's why they out there marching.
Stop saying, I'm okay with the immigration. Speak the truth.
When you think about what's going on in the United States of America right now and in Chicago with mass immigration, what are
everybody see it but the niggas that took that experiment, man? It's crazy.
Very, very angry.
Tell me more about that.
Very angry.
I'm going to put this at the feet of the Democratic Party, the Biden administration, because we've never seen a surge in immigration like we have seen under this administration. It's all by design. It's deliberate. The Democratic Party realizes that the black vote is dwindling because the Democratic Party has not delivered for the black community in the way that the black community has delivered for the Democratic Party in terms of votes. And they realize that. So what do? What do? They go around the world and they open up these borders and they let people come from around the world, poor, vulnerable people from around the world come into this country, and it was very strategic. You let them go into cities like New York. You let them come into cities like Chicago. You let them come into cities that where there's a large black population. Now they're all over the city of Chicago, but the majority of them now in Chicago are on the west and the south side of Chicago.
See these illegal migrants up and down the street on scooters and motorcycles.
That have been struggling for a long, long time.
Bigger than your car and shit.
You bring these people into Hyde Park. You bring these people into South Shore. They put them in a hotel, literally, right across the street from me. They're paying no rent. They're paying no rent. Their food is being provided for. They don't even make their beds. They have a maid to go and make their beds every day. How do I know? Because I live on the 25th floor and I can look right down on that hotel every day, every night, and I see what's going on. We don't want them in our community. Let them go back to where they came from, because it's my position that if you have a problem with your country, then you stay and you make it better by fighting that government, making your government do what it needs to do by its people, because that's what we do in this country. That's what I've been doing all of my life. I don't have any place to run to. America is my home. It's my country. We built it.
When the buses started rolling in, a lot of the American citizens, black citizens, did not realize what they were here for. But once that they got here, they started to bring them into the black community. And we started to do research, and that's when I found out that it was Kamala Harris that opened the borders up in California and allowed all the gangs, the Mexican gangs, to come across. And they took Compton and all the other black cities, similar to what we're seeing across the United States today.
What kind of legislation would you like to see? We mentioned to you E-Verify and being able to check if people have the right to work here. Do you think that would be helpful?
I think that would benefit all Americans with E-Verify, for the simple fact
black or white thing, man. It's Americans versus these illegal migrants that the Biden-Harris administration let come across the border. So they over here illegally, but yet they getting criminals
was 12 million from
resources that belong to the American people, man. It's crazy. And these niggas don't see this shit, man. They still out that bitch in the streets marching and protesting for their own demise, man.
Because we do need the structure.
Face it, them niggas lied to y'all, man.
With the immigration laws. So we don't need to do that again.
They fucking lied to y'all, man. The Democratic Party sold y'all out, man. They gave y'all a bunch of experiments and gave y'all resources to these illegal migrants. Let's face it.
So I would say with the sheriff,
you don't know what's in that fucking experiment, man.
That they could shut the sanctuary cities down and start deporting all illegals who have not come to this country and been vetted and went through the system.
I am here in Chicago during the DNC, and as you see behind me, it says, "Come bring on the benefits." Well, what about the benefits for Americans? People need to know how Americans are being affected by immigration. Let's bring the benefits for Americans.
It's not a black or white thing.
That we need on the table so that Americans can benefit. We want sensible immigration policies, and we can push our elected officials to do that today. I'm Andre Barnes with Numbers USA, and we're here in Chicago.